But this is basically the permanent Chalice of the Void deck
Yes.
in Legacy. Lots of ways to cast a Chalice of the Void on turn 1.
Yes. Which shuts off Brainstorm, Ponder,
All the
all
good
the good
cards.
cards.
Yeah.
One of the interesting things to note is that previously there was a big argument about, well, is Chalice of the Void the card I want? Do I play Goblin Welder because that's a 1-drop? Can I play both even?
The answer is actually yes now, because one of the lands in this deck is Cavern of Souls.
Yes.
And it stops your cards from getting countered
by your own Chalice.
So, Wasteland pass from Zach.
Preordained for Chris. Looks like Chris has multiple misdirections in his hand. Recent re-addition to the format with Hinder coming back.
Yeah. So Chris's deck, a Sneak and Show deck, is named for the 2 ways it has to cheat in creatures: Sneak Attack and Show and Tell.
Yep.
They're both cheat in creatures, and then also plays the full 8 copies of Emrakul, the Aeon's Torn, and 4 copies of Gristlebrand to have creatures to cheat into play.
This looks like a very standard list based on what we've seen in the past. You know,
all right, looks like Metalworker coming down from Zach.
Oh boy,
this is the best card in Zach's deck, not close.
Yes,
Zach can probably reveal his hand and cast some upwards of 15 mana of cards.
That's a Brainstorm for those of you who aren't familiar with the new dual deck art.
Okay, this is it Verus Golgari?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, the first time I saw Metalworker played in I believe in a Star City Open, it was at like a 4 or 5-0 table of a tournament, and the person asked, "Is that card legal?"
It wasn't always legal.
It was not. At the time, it definitely was, and the person, I believe it was Michael Baumholt, ended up finishing second at that open.
Yeah, he's actually, Mike Baumholt is a Cincinnati area. He loves
his stacks.
Yeah. Loves
Workshops or Legacy style.
Yeah, he's a vintage guy too. He plays Mishra's Workshop. This is the Legacy version of the Workshop deck. Mishra's Workshop a little not legal.
Yeah, a little bit too good.
No.
Especially because we get to play with 4 Trinisphere in this format. Zachary choosing to play with 3 of that card.
Right. It'll be interesting. Trinisphere actually not all that strong against Chris's deck. Because his ways to kill people
already cost 3
already cost 3 or more.
It does shut off his cantrips, the similar to Chalice of the Void.
If he doesn't already have it, making Ponder cost 3 mana, not a great deal. And then Chris also is cut off from Force of Will.
Yeah, well, it also hurts. One of the things that the Sneak and Show deck can do is sneak in a Gristlebrand and try and draw a Lotus Petal and an Emrakul. Yeah. You can't do that with a 3-sphere in play because Lotus Petal costs 3 mana to play.
Yeah, Trinisphere is one of the...
another strange card to play with.
Yeah, Trinisphere is a 3-mana artifact. All right, let's see what Zach... First off, let's see what Zach's gonna try and dump into play.
You got a Titan.
Sundering Titan, Darksteel Citadel, Wormcoil Engine, Mox Opal, Metalworker,
10 mana floating.
Very mediocre 10 mana from Metalworker here.
I think we're going to see a Sundering Titan come down here.
I believe so as well. Unfortunately for Zach, there's no disruption, so the Sundering Titan, if it gets Force of Willed, it's Force of Willed. And it's only going to blow up 1 land.
Doesn't have it.
Yeah, so...
Boom.
The casual 8-mana Avalanche Riders.
So it's a 7/10. I believe Zach can also cast this Wormcoil Engine here, too.
Yes, he had 10 mana, so he has...
10, he plays the Darksteel Citadel.
And so he has 2 floating out of his 10. So 2 plus the 6, 2 plus the 4
he may want to play around Daze. No.
He
just shove it.
Disagree. Yeah,
Wormcoil.
I would just play 2. Daze is probably game over. Chris cannot afford to return a land.
Sure. And also, a lot of the Seek and Show decks, I believe, may be cutting Daze. A lot of these Show and Tell decks are very iffy on whether that's even a good card for them.
Yeah, I believe they should.
Okay. Chris?
Alright, so...
I see a Lotus Petal.
So, it's funny that Zach is going to play out his giant creatures, and then Chris is just going to...
Try and play out his?
Yeah, he's gonna... Okay, he's gonna sneak attack. Maybe, like, Chris could have saved Zach some trouble. What?
Why is the sneak attack in the graveyard? Oops.
Yeah. Just kidding. All right,
so 2 turns removed from the Brainstorm or 1? Because I don't... we did not see him fetch after the Brainstorm, so he may be Brainstorm locked out of this game.
Yeah, and this is an actual thing.
Yep.
Coming in for 14.
Yep.
7 plus 6 plus 1.
Zach gaining 6, which actually is relevant because Chris has an Emrakul in hand. Zach wants
that actually doesn't do anything.
Yeah. He's over 15 life. I didn't see that he had another land in his hand, but if he didn't, one of the ways he wants to play a metal. Oh, I guess he gets the Wormcoil tokens.
Yeah,
so
he will get the Wormcoil tokens.
But if you're above 15, I forgot about those. So
He's
actually did have a red source.
But yeah, he has a.
But he is in fact dead to the Wormcoil tokens. Exactly.
That's an Emrakul and
far back.
Even Gristlebrand doesn't do too much because it'll have to chump block and he can't draw 7 off of it.
Oh, he can't. That's correct.
Yeah.
He could try to draw 7 into another Gristlebrand.
He doesn't have 7 life.
No, he attacks with the Gristlebrand.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Draw 7s, tries to hit Lotus Petal Gristlebrand, blocks with the Gristlebrand, takes 0 on the attack, and then tries to. Yeah, I think Zach is. Yep, and we're done here.
It's amazing when somebody can actually mount a board that beats an Emrakul Annihilate You.
Yeah.
Attack or a Gristlebrand draw 7.
Yes, just easily. Okay, so that was also on turn 3 that board was graded. That was
turn 2 Metalworker. Turn 3.
13 mana worth of creatures. This is good.
Yeah. So
sorry, it's more. 14.
One of my favorite anti-show and tell cards is a one-of copy in Zach Carroll's deck. It is a Spine of Isha.
Ooh.
So he
already has that main deck.
Yeah.
He also has some other really good ones here. He has Metamorphs.
Phyrexian Metamorph.
Which does not work off of show and tell because it has to copy something that's already in play.
Correct.
But if they show and tell in an Emrakul, you can cast the Metamorph.
Correct.
He has Summoning Traps as another anti-counterspell measure. He has Ensnaring Bridge, which is very good against show and tell.
Yeah, that's right.
Phyrexian Revoker, which will name Sneak Attack, will definitely come in. It can also name
Lotus Petal. Phyrexian Revoker different from Pithing Needle. Revoker cannot name lands, but it can stop mana sources.
Correct. So Lotus Petal can be stopped. Lion's Eye Diamond is one of the usual uses for Phyrexian Revoker.
Yeah.
That is a mana ability.
I think Phyrexian Revoker is a very underrated card.
Yeah.
It doesn't go in a lot of decks.
It's not necessarily good, but it's not a card that people ever consider.
I really like it in the mono white disruption deck.
Okay.
Like Death and Taxes, I believe. Yeah, is the name.
It's possible those decks need to play real creatures that they can't afford a 2/1. So that might be the reason it doesn't see as much play. But yeah, it's definitely one of the better hate pairs for that deck.
So if Zach Carroll's like siding out something,
we have another anti-show and tell card. We have a duplicate.
This is like a
just walking into a sea of landmines here.
Yeah, there's a duplicate. So you show and tell, Emrakul into play.
Boom, 15/15 attack. Is this good?
I will take your.
You dead?
His duplicate can eat a guy that just comes into play.
Yes.
Yeah. What I was saying before him with Phyrexian Metamorph, basically when you show and tell.
Yep.
The card you show and tell into play, if it's a clone effect, you cannot clone. You have to clone something that was already in play.
Yeah, it alters how it would enter the battlefield before it's in the battlefield or on the battlefield, and both of the permanents are entering play at the same time.
So they cannot copy each other. They do not see each other entering the battlefield. So you have to be able to copy something else.
Correct. So what about Chris's sideboard? We probably have Echoing Truths coming in.
Okay.
I could see. I don't actually know if Pithing Needle is good. I don't think it is.
Yeah, Chris has 2, but it's not fantastic. It cannot stop the Metalworker.
Can't stop Metalworker. It can't stop. It stops Kuldotha Forgemaster and Lightning Greaves.
Okay.
I could see that card being something that Chris boards in, but without seeing Zach's deck list, doesn't realize that it's not good.
What would you side out if you're Zach? He's got like a couple. He's got the 2 Metamorphs, 3 Summoning Traps. Assuming he wants those.
Probably not those. That's a little ambitious.
So two Metamorphs, 1 Ensnaring Bridge. Maybe two Revoker, that's 5 cards.
Crucible of Worlds.
Yeah, it's not a grindy. Crucible of Worlds is for the grinding matchups. We got 2 Crucibles.
Wormcoil Engine's probably not that good.
Yeah, I could see that. There's 3 of
Steel
those.
Hawkeye seems terrible.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree. Kind of like Wurmcoil, somewhat like it can
live through an Emrakul.
Yeah, sort of.
Well, if you don't die to the Emrakul, it will kill them.
Yeah.
Or start working on it. Let's see. Chris has an Ancient Grudge in the sideboard, but no green land to flash it off or flash it back off of. Just Lotus Petals.
Wow.
He's got a really cool sideboard card that doesn't matter in this matchup.
This card
pioneered, I believe, by Jerry T for Grand Prix Atlanta last year.
Okay. This card is not of this world.
Yeah, exactly. So Not of This World is a 7-mana tribal instant Eldrazi. It costs 7 to cast, but it costs 7 less to 7 colors. It costs 7 less to cast if if a spell is targeting a creature with converted mana cost 7 or higher that you control, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And it counters target spell targeting a creature you control.
Is it only spells? Can it counter
I don't know if it's abilities. I would have to look that one up.
I know the card is not of this world.
Yeah. So we've got some of that going on the sideboard here on Chris Song's side. Yeah. Again, some more awesome legacy cards.
Yeah. Okay, this card's constructed playable now. Okay.
It's kind of funny because Not of This World would be really cool in both of these decks.
Yeah. Zach has some 6-mana cards, so.
Oh, that's true. So
there you go. Not of This World.
A permanent you control. Yeah, it costs 7 less. If
it targets a spell or ability.
And it targets a permanent you control.
Yeah. So it's a sort of a Faith Shield type effect.
Yeah, it costs 7 less to play if it targets a spell or ability that targets a creature you control with 7 power.
Power 7 or greater.
So Gristlebrand or Emrakul.
Yeah.
Jeez. That's a good one. Dug that one out of the Draft on Commons box again.
Yeah.
Just like, what was the one earlier?
Recross the Paths. And we saw Chronic Flooding yesterday.
Oh, man.
Alright, we have a Scalding Tarn getting a Volcanic Island. Very aggressive against the Wasteland deck.
Wasteland deck, yes.
One card
that Chris is playing for a sneak attack instead of a show and tell.
Yeah, it's probably his better play because there are definitely some whammies that Zach Carroll can
put in. Yes.
Yeah. Even something like a Kadoltha Forge Master probably
kills you before.
Yeah.
Some of these sneak and show lists I know I've been boarding into through the breach.
Yes. Just as an extra effect to not have to be able to win the game without casting a show and tell.
Yes.
So Echoing Truth in Chris's hand. Ancient Tomb as well.
From another player, please come up to the main event stage. Once again, if you
looks like a red card in his hand. Draws a Gristlebrand. I think that's an Ancient Grudge.
Yep. He's drawing 2 of his sideboard cards. We'll see if they work out for him. Like, he might. Does he have another source of blue mana? I don't believe he does.
Oh, dodges the Wasteland. Ancient Tomb.
No turn 1 Wasteland. Maybe it's entirely possible that
Chris doesn't want to run the Wasteland without getting some advantage out first.
Yeah, he wants to get ahead before he uses the Wasteland.
Or at least get into a position where it's
Zach still has his Trinisphere, and he has one in his hand. But
it's
I believe
not great here, but
yeah, I believe City of Traders are gonna come down for Zach, and
probably Lodestone Golem, I guess. Yep. What does this one do?
Card is something else.
Wins games of Vintage and apparently Legacy too.
Yeah.
Probably gonna get Ancient Grudge.
Yeah, unfortunately not that great against this Ancient Grudge.
Okay. The very typical Vintage answer to that card as well.
Mm-hmm.
Chris down to 17 life.
Yeah. Both players have taken 2 from their Ancient Tombs.
Chris does not have the 4th mana
so
for
if
the
Zach
sneak
can
attack.
Get a Wasteland into play, that'd be...
Looks like he's gonna Metal Worker.
Yeah, maybe Trinisphere.
Maybe 3-sphere first.
I like the Metal Worker here because you get Blightsteel Colossus.
He does have a Blightsteel.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a definite whammy if there's a show and tell cast this game.
That's not too bad.
Though, that's actually really cool that, like, you attack with it into an Emrakul, the Emrakul becomes a 3/3, and then the Emrakul attacks back and kills the Blightsteel.
Yeah.
1 floating.
Right,
3 sphere. Looks like a intuition.
Yeah. So intuition might be able to get lands.
Yeah. I don't know why we're doing this is it in response?
I'm not sure. One way or the other, yeah.
Chris to 15.
So it is a sneak attack and a Gristlebrand in his hand.
An Echoing Truth.
An Echoing Truth. Do you just get...
He's getting show... Oh. He's going to get show and tells. Oh, no. Oh, no. He doesn't know about it.
Oh, jeez. That's...
Oh.
He's basically gaining 1 mana out of this. He can just get lands, right? I guess if he draws a land, he can sneak whatever his Gristlebrand into play as well.
Yeah, he can
draw a red
sneak.
source. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's a pretty standard line of play for that deck.
Especially against counter magic. You play the show and tell, they have to counter it, then you still have the sneak attack in hand.
And, you know, we were just talking about, like, this beats Spine of Ishod, this beats Duplicate, beats Phyrexian Metamorph. It's a way to use show and tell as something that isn't.
Yeah, it won't be.
It's basically Lotus Petal show and tell.
Yeah. Except for Lotus Petal turned off by this Trinisphere.
Yeah. Chris draws. Oh. There's the land.
All right, so
it looks like this game could probably be over right here. Oh, if he only has a Gristlebrand though.
He only has Gristlebrand. He doesn't. I don't think he has Emrakul. And
oh no!
When he puts Gristlebrand into play,
he's gonna get one-upped.
He's gonna get trumped by Big Papa Blightsteel Colossus.
It's kind of cool that Blightsteel Colossus is like basically racing 10 life when Chris has already paid almost 10 life.
Yeah.
After this Ancient Tomb hit, yeah.
Show and tell from Chris. I was like, yeah, it's good.
Sure. How much does your spell cost? Mine costs 12.
How much mana are you saving?
They're confirming how to resolve a show and tell when.
Yeah, Trinisphere is they're just double checking to make sure Trinisphere does not affect like actually putting the creature into play. It does not. This is not casting a spell.
Oh boy!
Boom!
Oh! Oops!
Oh, he has Emrakul.
Spaghetti Monster. That's a game, I assume.
I mean, oh yeah, because they'll have another.
Emrakul back.
So sorry.
Oh, he tried so hard there.
It even has a Metamorph in hand.
Would not have done anything.
Basically, yeah, if because it does a good thing, yeah, sacrifice your Annihilator does not sacrificing permanence.
That looks like it. Oh, Chris assumed that the game was being conceded.
Yeah.
Oh, you're picking up.
You gotta shuffle some creatures, Emrakul's in.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. Just forgot his trigger. Okay, it's okay. We're shuffling in this turn anyways. I'll let you put that ability on the stack. Okay, so
even though show and tell.
This is why we don't show and tell.
Yeah, if you can avoid it, that's kind of what you want to do with show and tell. Like use it to save a mana on your sneak attacks.
Yeah, it's so weird how you can't like the only cards that you actively want to show and tell anymore are enchantments. There's just so many Karakas running around or like all these things that make I'll make a Gristlebrand for 3 mana. Is that good anymore?
No,
not really.
Yeah,
like the Tension Sphere, right?
The other thing is a lot of times you problem with Gristlebrand in these decks is it just draws you more ways to put a Gristlebrand into play.
Yeah.
And so you kind of actually need the Baneslayer to be good.
Oh, the 7/7?
Yeah. Like, yeah.
It's not
Gristlebrand
like
is a split card or a dual card between Baneslayer Angel and Yawgmoth's Paladin.
Yeah. I've seen there's some really weird Reanimator Storm lists where like you put a Gristlebrand into play and then you draw your deck and then
I cube draft those all the time.
You cube draft those all the time. Yeah, that's apparently sort of a deck in Legacy.
Yeah.
But
seems ambitious. It seems so many card slots to put a Gristlebrand into play that it's really only like draw 3, draw 4. because it's going to be like 4 more like end tunes.
Yeah, and you're investing so much work that your Storm Shell isn't that good on its own.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Zach gets to be on the play this last game, which means he could, just play a Thronosphere on turn 1, right? Can Zach play a Thronosphere on turn 1?
He has one.
He has
Mox
one Mox
Diamond.
Diamond. I'm used to seeing. He has 4 Grim Monoliths as well. I'm used to seeing more Mox Diamonds in these lists, but
yeah, Zach has opted for Mox Opal, so a little less explosive, but a little more stable.
Right.
Which I like. Any amount of stability I can get out of these, basically mono brown decks, mud decks, if you will.
Yeah.
Any amount of stability, anything that works more often than it doesn't.
Right. I was trying to figure out if there's some way for him to put a Mox Opal into play with Metalcraft on turn 1 without using mana. It just doesn't work.
Right. Like, I mean, it would probably involve like chalices for 0.
But you need multiple chalices for 0 because your land has to be a Ancient Tomb, a soul land.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. But you could just Grim Monolith, Chronosphere, go.
Yeah.
Yep, dead. I'm not casting spells. I mean, Chris decks could.
He could just naturally have it.
Yeah, just like land, 4-drop, kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a Karn Liberated in Zach's deck as well.
Yeah. Can't show and tell that one into play.
You cannot. Show and tell was printed before Planeswalkers, so they decided that they just wanted to leave it at the types of permanents that existed then.
However, Eureka is all permanents.
Yep. You can Eureka and Equal Bolas.
Yeah.
You cannot Hypergenesis and Equal Bolas.
Well, you can. They're both same.
Really?
I believe both cards should be worded the same.
I thought Hypergenesis was worded differently. It's very strange.
Yeah. Hypergenesis is basically the broken card.
Yeah. Hypergenesis, you cannot put a Planeswalker to play with.
Interesting.
I think this actually came up at a Legacy Open once.
I actually heard a story from Zach about this. One of his opponents, round 1 of a Legacy Open, had a Hypergenesis deck with Nicol Bolas in it. And there's also Omniscience, but he's just like trying to show and tell.
Yeah. Doesn't work.
Nicol Bolas, yeah. Try again.
Okay. Chalice 1, go. Okay.
I think that's almost stronger than Trinisphere.
Possibly. Big die comes down.
So basically, Chris is going to have to naturally have it. He only has the help of intuition to help him find his combo.
It looks like he has part of it. He has intuition.
Okay.
Wasteland in play for Zach. Oh, we have 3-sphere too.
Yeah,
it might be a little late for that one.
Yeah, I don't think these cards. I don't think the sphere does much
that the chalice doesn't already do.
Exactly.
Yeah, especially because the Lotus spell is already in play. Yeah, one of the things about the Seek and Show decks is they don't have spells that cost 2 for Spell Snare. So, yeah, if Chalice 1 and 3 Sphere are in play at the same time,
they do the same thing.
Yep, just Trinisphere shuts off Force of Will. And
which could actually be like sort of a thing.
Yeah, sure. It's kind of like a City of Solitude. Or a Defense Grid. Yeah.
Wow.
City of Freighters, go. It looks like he's going to Intuition to find... He has the Gristlebrand in hand. He's going to find a Show and Tell, probably.
Maybe it's Sneak Attack, if he's not willing to risk. There's a Forge Master in Zach's hand.
Oh, boy. Wasteland City.
Goes for the...
Floats the mana, Intuitions.
Probably get Sneak Attack. Maybe, because he has a...
I don't think we have enough mana anymore because we got Wasteland.
Oh, yeah. It looks like he's going for Volcanic.
He is going for the Sneak Attacks. Okay. So Zach's going to have a couple more turns to set up. Oh, he has a Lodestone Golem 2 and an Ancient Tomb. This is going to take a while.
That's not going to be fast enough.
Yeah.
There's also a Metamorph.
Oh, really?
For Zach.
Oh, gee. So we're just going to double go. We're just going to go into full-on Vintage Mud mode?
Yeah. Double. Lodestone Golem, copy it, attack you for 10. Attack you for 10.
Yeah. So...
Good luck casting your 4-drop with 2 lands.
Lodestone Golem is non-artifact spells, cost 1 more to play. Worth noting is that Lodestone Golem doesn't stack on top of Trinisphere. So if the Chalice wasn't already countering 1-drops, they would still just cost base 3.
Yeah.
Because Trinisphere applies after all other extra costs are or all additional mana costs are taken into account.
Yep.
So it just says, are you going to end up paying less than 3 for the spell in the end? If so, pay 3.
Yeah.
So if you have like a replicate spell like Shattering Spree, if you pay like 4 red for it, you're all good, even though it costs 1. That also dodges Chalice of the Void because the replicate copies just end up on the stack from the trigger.
It's funny that Zach Carroll is going to take a ton of damage from his lands, but
he's
none
gonna
of it's
probably
relevant.
win the game at like 4 life.
Yeah, there's also still
there's multiple Metamorphs.
Yeah, I don't think there's
I don't think there's life to cast multiple Metamorphs.
Yeah, because this is going to cause Zach Carroll 6 life.
Yeah.
If he wants to copy the Lodestone Golem, absolutely wants to.
Hold up.
Apparently Chris has a question about something.
He's probably asking the Trinisphere question.
Yes.
Yeah, Chris has Echoing Truce and Ancient Grudges, which will still cost 3 in this exact situation.
Yes.
And this Force of Will in his hand.
Yes, this Force of Will costs 3, and
that's interesting. If he has a blue card, he can force this Lodestone Golem, and that locks Zach out of playing spells.
Yeah, I also costs Chris's Lotus Petal he may not need. Oh,
that's true.
Zach just passed. Wow.
He is afraid of taking all this damage, I think.
Yeah,
he possibly doesn't want to die to 1 Gristlebrand hit.
That's possible, but I think he will die to 1 Gristlebrand hit.
Yes.
Mark Kelso, if you're in the room, please come inside and say your name.
Looks like Chris is fetching so we can cast another Lotus Petal.
Yep, and he just drew a Lotus Petal and he's going to try and get that one into play. I would have really liked to see Metamorph. Or even...
He doesn't actually have to cast Metamorph this turn, though, to keep the clock the same.
Okay.
It's also... He also may not want to cast it into untapped mana because of a Ancient Grudge or something similar. So if Chris taps out for this Lotus Petal here, it's actually tapping out because you cannot cast a 2-mana spell with Trinisphere in play.
Yeah, okay.
I think that Zach just says, okay, you're on a 1-turn clock.
Yeah.
Kill you next turn. And it locks Chris out of sneak attack range because sneak attack will cost 6 to play. And the most that he can present next turn is 6. And I think Zach has the... I don't know if it's a hard lock, but it's quite close.
Pretty close if Zach decides to take it.
Yeah. Chris could still draw an Ancient Grudge into something else.
Yeah, Echoing Truth or whatever, because would
Echoing Truth would really...
set him back. Or...
Well, Echoing Truth would also cost Chris both of his... or one of his Lotus Petals.
Because it would cost 4 through 2 Lodestone Golems. Ditto the Ancient Grudge. Let's see, do a Darksteel Citadel. That actually gives Zach access to Forge Master...
or Metamorph. It also saves him 2 life on the Metamorph because he can tap a non-ancient 2.
But he's going for...
He's going for the Forge Master.
Yeah,
and
I do not like that play.
He might get punished here.
Yeah, so he's going to 8 life.
Oh, boy. And that's the Echoing Truth that would have punished him for the other play. Jeez.
So, Chris
conservative play pays off. Or not conservative.
Yeah.
Alternate
Chris can sneak attack.
He can sneak attack.
And hit with Gristlebrand.
Correct.
But he does not have Emrakul.
I think he has to Gristlebrand here.
Okay. But I don't think... Is it something he can afford to pay?
He can't afford to pay life because he dies on the swing back there.
Yeah.
It's possible that he doesn't sneak attack main phase. He just casts the sneak and passes.
Yeah.
Has a blocker and then hopes that Zach doesn't have a way around the Gristlebrand in play. Jeez. This is very strange.
Yeah.
Hopes that with access to his entire deck, Zach can't do something, I guess, is the real situation we're in.
Yeah. This is quite a good match. I like Zach's position a little better, but I'm not sure
that he has it in the bag.
Yeah, by no means is this over. Even though like things are gonna happen, this game is only going to last a few other turns. Yeah, he's just showing that he's paying the correct amount of mana for his cards.
Yep.
So he can put in Gristlebrand.
That's not enough.
But that only puts Zach to 1.
Whereas, yeah, if he can block with a Gristlebrand, he can gain the life and draw 7.
Mm-hmm. Very interested to see what kind of play Zach will make against this. He's got to know
that something's
up. What can he do?
He can. I like the line of if he can he. Okay, so the thing is, it's possible that he just doesn't know if Chris has a creature or not.
Mm-hmm. So he could try and send both of his creatures in, but that just is very bad against Chris having a creature, specifically Gristlebrand.
Correct.
I think the play I would do is send only Lodestone Golem, and then if Chris tries to sneak something in play, sacrifice it to Forge Master, get something like a Spine of Ishtar or a Duplicate.
Yes, or a Sundering Titan, because the Gristlebrand will die on end step, and it doesn't actually matter because it can't pay life.
Right.
So you get a Sundering Titan and kill both of his in-play red sources, and he loses the game.
He could get, like, that's why Spine. Sundering Titan would blow up the 2 red sources, but leave him open to a top deck. That's what. Okay. You could alternatively go get your lowly Phyrexian Revoker and shut off the sneak attack.
True.
You could sacrifice. So there's a lot of things that
could happen.
Yeah, Zach is very capable of doing.
Okay. He senses the Gristlebrand.
That is the correct play.
Chris drops to 1.
Mm-hmm. And Zach even has the potential of doing
just
this.
Pass it? Yeah, he can just pass.
No. Why would he do it now?
Chris? I don't know why he necessarily has to do it now. Yeah, it doesn't gain or save him any mana. He's going to EOT this. Okay.
Sure. I'm not sure why he sacrificed a Lotus Petal there.
Yeah.
And he can just untap. Alright, so basically, if Chris has nothing, Zach's going to win regardless of what he does.
But what
Chris could do, he could draw another creature.
You draw an Emrakul.
Right, and that would force Zach's hand if Zach prematurely goes for something like a Duplicate.
Well, no, Chris has to, even if Chris gets an Emrakul, he doesn't have enough to Echoing Truth and Emrakul if the Forge Master leaves the 3-sphere and the Lodestone in play.
No, he still does because Lodestone and Twin Sphere don't stack, so he needs 3 for the...
Wow, I don't know what I'm thinking.
Yeah. But if I'm Zach, I would probably just eliminate, just leave the Lodestone Golem in play.
Yeah.
Because that is the actual threat. As long as you don't die on this turn, I think...
I don't think he's dead on this turn.
Yeah, me neither. I don't think he can afford to take a hit. Or, I mean, he could, but like he shouldn't.
Yeah.
Alright, Zach going for something likely here. He's picking up his hand, but I think his play is all in play.
He actually has no instance in his deck. It's okay.
Right.
Aside from summoning Trap. With all of our green mana. I actually don't think he can cast Summoning Trap. Oh, he has 2 Mox Opals and a Mox Diamond.
Yeah.
Okay. He can barely cast Summoning Trap.
Alright, he's gonna activate it. What 3 artifacts would you sacrifice? Clearly Darksteel Citadel is one of them.
I think we if we have the 3-sphere, we don't need the Chalice.
I would actually prefer the... Okay, yeah. Keep the sphere over the Chalice. What about itself? Like, what about sacrificing both of them?
That's possible. Just like
that leaves you with 3 threats in play.
Yeah.
And I believe the card that Zach is going to get is Duplicate.
Yep. Yeah, there's definitely no way that he...
Okay, he skipped over it. He has something else in mind. Maybe a Spinavish Shaw.
I think it's duplicate. Because even if he has an Ancient Grudge and an Emrakul in his hand, I guess you'd have Ancient Grudge and a Gristlebrand. Oh, that's actually... If he gets the Spine and blows up the Sneak, even if he goes to 1 on the attack and Chris goes to 9, Chris has to get another mana into play, another Sneak, and another turn. So I think you actually may have wanted to blow up the Sneak attack.
Okay. I kind of like the Spine and Spine the Gristlebrand. Basically, this is a hedge, like, you can attack with just the Lodestone Golem again next turn. If Chris has something, or like if he has another creature, you can now still have 3 artifacts to sack.
What's your third? What do you play? Oh, the Spine?
The Spine, yeah, the Spine, the Lodestone Golem, and the Forge Master.
I mean, we're all trying to figure out situations of playing around another Gristlebrand in Chris's hand, I think, when he just doesn't have...
Yeah, clearly doesn't have anything, and we
know that.
We know that, but Zach doesn't. And
yeah.
He wants to make the right play.
Right.
Something. Other thing, like, Gristlebrand becomes a 7/7 attacker as opposed to just having an artifact in play. So, like, I might have gone duplicate, yeah. Becomes a 7/7 there.
Yeah, that doesn't beat interactive spell plus a Gristlebrand, though.
No.
So, definitely a very interactive endgame considering what had occurred that game.
Yeah, I mean, like, Zach's draw is very excellent.